All right. All right. Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Racha Kodash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. And as you can see in the title of this lesson, um, when you want to do a lesson, but you have no topic. And this is interesting, the fact that I was even able to, get titled it that way because, occasionally this happens to us, all of us where, there's times when you feel, there's times when you don't really feel the spirit as heavily, but then there's times when you just within you feel like you want to do a lesson, you're looking around for a topic. I was even speaking to brothers about this, but you look around for a topic and then, just that you're not able to, not that there is no topic around, but when you see it, it's actually the inspiration. I remember, I forgot who said it that I heard it, but they were basically saying that when you're able to do lessons, it's the inspiration, that the Most High puts upon you, that spirit. That's why you're able to see a particular thing and then you're able to think and use that topic for a lesson. Because when we do lessons, the point is to bring edification. So when we do a lesson on a specific topic or an idea, which an idea is really the spirit of the Lord, but when you see something and it provokes your mind to start thinking of precepts, start thinking of how can I tie this into the truth? How can I, bring edification from this? How can I use this as an example or do all of these things? Guess what? That's the spirit of the Lord working. That's the inspiration, of the spirit that's on you to be able to think like that. Then the precepts just start popping in your head, and then all of a sudden you're like, yo, that's a good lesson. You put it together and you go. But it's not always like that, right? There's times when, you see the different topics, you see the different articles, you see the different things going on, but the inspiration that just hits you and say, oh, boom, this precept, put this together this way. Sometimes it doesn't come that way, Now, I mean, I've realized that when there's moments when I want to do a lesson and I don't have a specific topic in mind, or I I just turn on the stream or turn on the camera and then just speak through the spirit. I'll pull the apostle to heart as he says, whenever you'll hear him occasionally when he's doing a video, he'll say, let's just see where the spirit takes me, because that's how the spirit works. It's remember, that's why I have this precept here, the book of Matthew chapter 10 verse 20. It says, for it is not ye that speak, but the spirit of your father which speaketh in you. So it's in essence like when you go out, to the highways and byways. Now there's moments when you might have been reading an article, you might have seen something that's fresh on your mind, and you're saying, oh, boom, this is like a good, topic to open up camp with or something like that. But for most times, you go there, you go out, and there's nothing that's just like, you don't premeditate, what every single thing you're gonna say, and this is that and the third. You open up, you say the opening, and then you start speaking, and then it's like a fire. As you're, you can imagine as you're giving all praises to the Lord, you're giving double honors, you're saying your opening. Imagine like somebody striking like flint, trying to spark that fire. And then you start off, you start speaking or you start on one subject. And that's why sometimes, you start speaking on one thing, and if you notice how the street speaking goes, it's like the wind. Like it goes from one direction to another direction. Then this precept comes out, then we're over here. That's why sometimes it makes it difficult to go through like one particular breakdown. Like you may say, oh, we want to go through I don't know, Revelation 9. But in the second you get through about 3 verses in Revelation 9, the Spirit carries the topic elsewhere. Either somebody comes up and asks a question, or a precept comes up, or something like that comes up, and then all of a sudden we got precepts from Genesis. We're going into Isaiah, we're going into Jeremiah, and then sometimes you're able to come back to Revelation, or sometimes the Spirit just has it to where it doesn't go that way. I remember just last week, we decide, oh, let's start off with this precept. This is what we're thinking of, and throughout the whole entire speaking, the Lord just had another precept this year. Then we'll speak on this. Then we'll speak on that. Then we'll speak on this. Because that goes to show you that when you speak, there's a spirit of the Lord that's on you, and you say what the Lord wants you to say. You're like a microphone. So the words that we say, like prior to saying these words, we don't know how it's going to come out. We know the precepts, we have the understanding, but to put it together, the examples we give, that when you tie in one point to another point, you say this, you say that, that's not of us. This brother, he gives great examples, he does this, but that's the Spirit of the Lord working through that vessel. To say, all right, you may read this precept, and you break it down, you give this example, you tie it in with this precept. That's all the Spirit of the Lord working. So when you get to that point, like going back to the title of the lesson, you want to do a lesson, but you have no topic. Sometimes, you just pray to the Lord and you just start speaking. And really all it takes is just one idea. A matter of fact, since I keep saying that, let us type in the word idea here in this online etymology, or online etymology dictionary, idea. So we have here the word idea. I'm sure there's going to be something good in here to see. Okay. So it says, all right. So we have your meaning, mental image or picture. It says act of thinking, as in the sense, concept of something to be done, concept of what ought to be, differing from what is observed. We have here fixed idea. Okay, so they don't really give too, like a spiritual detail into it. But when you think of how an idea works, you just have them, right? How ideas work is you just have them. Oh, I have an idea, or that's a good idea, or I just thought of something. But you never really go past that. You never really stop and say, wait, hold on. I have this idea, but it just came to me. That's how idea. That's the definition of an idea is pretty much that. Like it just came to you. Like, oh, I was thinking about something, and then boom, this is just thought that just came to me. But you got to ask yourself, well, where is that thought coming from? What is the origin? What is the source of that thought? Clearly, it's not you. If the idea came to you, so if the idea came to you, that means that it came from somewhere. Right now, like the brother posted this earlier on the comment board, this is Job 32:8. It says, but there is a spirit in man, and the inspiration of the Almighty giveth them understanding. Now let's look up the word inspiration. All right, we have here, what's that? Nashama. And it says breath, spirit, breath of God, spirit, right? And we know that the scriptures say that it is the spirit that quickeneth, right? That meaning the spirit is what makes you alive. Okay, so the inspiration, the breath of the Most High is what gives us understanding. And there are a lot of things that sometimes you meditate on them, and as you think about them, you just get a thought that just comes into your head. When we speak on certain things, and then you're like, oh yeah, I got a precept for that. That's the Spirit of the Lord. That's the angels, working on your mind to put those thoughts in your head. Okay, so going back to the point in which I started this, which is you may be doing a lesson, you may be speaking, but in there's certain points and connecting dots that you make, certain reasonings that you make, certain scriptures that you connect one with another, and that's through what? That's through the Spirit of the Lord that you're able to do that. Okay. Now I have another one here. This is the book of Acts, the 2nd chapter and the 4th verse. Now this is dealing with when the disciples received, or the apostles received, spiritual power. And you got to understand that even in this point, in this time, when we're out there on the highways and byways and breaking down these scriptures, that is a form of spiritual power, because there's a divine spirit that's working within the bodies of us as mere mortals, as mere men, to give us the understanding. We just read that in Job 32:8, right? But there is a spirit in man, because what keeps us alive is our spirit. Alive is pretty much having a functioning body, because your spirit never dies. The concept of life and death doesn't really apply to the spirit. That applies to the flesh. Okay, when you're dead, your spirit exists. When you're alive, your spirit exists. So it's really just the unification and the separation of the spirit and the body, right? So there's a spirit in man, and the inspiration of the Almighty giveth them understanding. You see, so that ultimately the Spirit of the Most High is what gives us that understanding. So for us to be able to read the scriptures, of course, we have teachers and we're taught. But when you're taught something, it doesn't mean you're going to understand it. So the fact that you're able to, matter of fact, let's get the book of Romans, chapter 11, verse 7. The fact that you are able to hear these words and it makes sense, and and not only does it make sense, but you're like, yeah, I actually believe these things. I believe this. That's the Spirit of the Lord. And for us to be able to break down from Genesis to Revelation, including the Apocrypha, going to this precept, going to this precept. Look, people that don't agree with what we teach, which is okay. It's not for everybody. When they come up and they listen and they hear the points that are made through the Spirit, and then we go to this precept to explain what we're talking about. Then we go to another precept to back up what we're saying. When they see those things, they admit to themselves, even though they don't agree, they're still like, there's something different about the way these men are teaching. I've never heard people teach the Bible this way before. Because they've never actually heard people actually teach the Bible. They've heard people speak about it and heard people quote certain parts, but in order to really teach it, the scriptures say that precept must be upon precept, line upon line, line upon line, here a little and there a little. And that's what we do. We teach with the precepts. We get verses, and that's why when we start, putting the pieces together, we get this precept to explain this precept to explain this. They at first they're in awe. They're like, what? No, ain't no way. And then we bring out the precept and they see, wow, this is actually in the Bible, but I've never heard it being used this way before. I'll give you an example, right? It's like when you there's something that you see every day, you may even use it every day, but maybe you haven't been using it properly. You've been using it in a way that it works, but that's not the way that it was designed to work. So when you finally find out how it's actually supposed to work, you're like, wow, like you can't see it the same anymore. You're like, wow. And an example is like a banana. Well, I remember for the longest time, right? Let me banana fruit. Yep. I don't want to see no crazy images out here. So yeah, let's go ahead and type this here. Cool. So this is a banana, right? Now, slack here. There we go. Cool. Now, for the longest period of time, you break, like you take one off, right? You break one, and I personally, I'd be, trying to from the stem area, right? You're trying to break it, trying to cut it, you're trying to peel it, until I found out that really you just gotta this part is here, like you just gotta squeeze this, and when you squeeze it, it the mouth opens up in a way where you can easily just peel off, from this part. You're not really supposed to peel it from here. You're supposed to peel it from the end over here. You squeeze the end and then you just peel it. When I found that out, I didn't find it out recently. I found it out a while back. But when I found it out, it was like a moment of like, wow. I mean, I eat bananas, like I've eaten, like this is a fruit that we're accustomed to eating, but to find out like, wow, this whole time this is really how it's supposed to be eaten, or this is really how it's supposed to be used. You're like, damn, like that makes so much sense. So I say that to relate it back to the scriptures in the sense that people, yes, they can open the Bible, yes, they can read verses, but to use a verse to explain another verse, to go to a precept to back up your point, to go to another precept to explain that precept, and to know what you're talking about, to know, oh yeah, God. Yeah, God, definitely. Hey, when I found out, I was like that too, but you try it. But yeah, to use this precept, explain this, use this to explain this. I was, they're like, wow, I've never heard anybody explain the Bible that way before. Yeah, that's because it's the Spirit of the Lord showing you how it's supposed to be understood or how it's supposed to be broken down. But even then, there's no guarantee that you're going to understand, or let me not even use the word understand. There's no guarantee that you're going to receive the message that's being sent. It can make all the sense in the world, but there's no guarantee that you're going to receive it. And you're going to say, I believe this. Because the scriptures say that what? Faith is a gift of the Lord. Okay. Now, and even an example here is I titled this lesson the way I titled it because I didn't have a topic. So I decided to use that as a lesson title. And now when I started off, literally a couple seconds before starting the lesson is when I put these precepts on here and I said, you know what, I'm gonna just go with however the spirit, flows. Okay. And so here we are in the middle of a lesson. So it goes to show you that once again, it's not up to me or you. It's about how the Spirit of the Lord works. And once that fire starts burning, the precepts are just like logs that you keep throwing in the fire to keep it burning. Right. So now before I read Romans 11:7, this is Acts chapter 2, verse 4. It says, and they were filled with the Holy Spirit and began to speak with other tongues, right? When the Lord brought the spiritual power of speaking different languages, it says, and as the Spirit gave them utterance, right? As the Spirit gave them utterance. Now, yes, this is speaking about them speaking different languages, but the fact that when we're breaking down the scriptures and going into different things, prophesying, we're doing that as the Spirit gives us utterance. As we're being fed through the Spirit of the Lord to edify and to say the things we say and connect, bring out the lesson the way the Lord wants it to come out. We're speaking as the Spirit is giving us utterance. So sometimes you may not have anything in your mind, but when you start speaking, your spirit gets connected to the source, right? And then boom, it just flows. Like the scriptures say, out of his belly shall flow rivers of living water. It'll just flow. Okay, because that's how the Spirit works. Now, this is the book of Romans, chapter 11, verse 7. It says, what then? Israel hath not obtained that which he seeketh for, but the election hath obtained it, and the rest were blinded. Right? So going back to the point that I was making, that yeah, just because, what? I might just might go up a little bit more, but just because it may make sense, right, does not mean that everybody can receive it. So that's the fact that we can not only receive and understand this word, but to teach it is a sign of divine intervention. There's a divine spirit that's given us the understanding of what we're reading, and the spirit that's allowing us to teach it so that others can also understand it. Okay, and that is a form of the power of the Spirit of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. All right, because not everybody has been given the ability to do so. When we say it's not for everybody, it's not because we just want to sound exclusive. It's because literally, it's not for everybody. It's impossible for everybody to believe what we believe, as we believe it. Why? Because we believe it through faith, and faith is a gift. Faith is not, the faith in what we believe in has not been given to everybody. Okay, that's why we always say we're only here for the elect, because those are the only ones who have been given that faith that they can believe these things. Okay, their spirit and their ears have been designed in a way that they will be receptive to this word. So it says here, Romans 11, I'm going to jump up actually to verse 4. It says, but what saith God unto him? I have reserved to myself 7,000 men, all right, which the number 7 means, completion. So 7,000 here is not a literal 7,000 men, but it means a complete amount of men, who have not bowed the knee to the image of Baal, which really is ultimately the elect, right? Those are the spirits that have been reserved and preserved, to be able to be delivered in these times. All right, by not bowing down and not worshiping, the image of Baal, which Baal is just, an idol, or a god, a false god. Okay, so verse 5, it says, even so then at this present time also there is a remnant according to the election of grace. You hear that? So the remnant is according to the election of grace. They were chosen, okay, by the grace of the Lord. It says, and if by grace, then it is no more of works, which means that, now it doesn't mean that if you're chosen or whatever the case is, then you don't have to do the works of the Lord. No, what it means is that you're not chosen because of the works you did. You're doing the works you did because you're chosen. All right, I'm gonna say it again. The Lord didn't choose you because of the works you did. You are doing the works that you're doing because he chose you. Because the elect are the only ones that are going to do the things that the elect are going to do. Okay? You're not the elect because of what you're doing. You're doing what you're doing because you're of the elect, because only the elect are going to do those things. Okay? So it's like when they say, like, the Most High didn't choose you because you were good. You're good because he chose you. So just, in that sense, right? It says here, and if by grace, then it is no more of works. Otherwise, grace is no more grace, right? So it's like say you cut somebody slack, right? Like let me actually type in here the definition here they have of grace. Now they have here is charis, all right, and it says here that which affords joy, pleasure, delight, sweetness, charm, lovingness. It says of the merciful kindness by which the Most High, or God, exerting his holy influence upon souls, turns them to Hamashiach, keeps, strengthens, and increases them in Christian faith, knowledge, affection, and kindles them to the exercise of Christian virtue. It says, what is due to grace? The spiritual condition of one governed by the power of divine grace. It says here, benefit, bounty, a gift of grace, the token, proof, service, favors, right? So let's take the word favor, for example. Like it's like somebody doing you a favor. If somebody does a favor to you or a favor for you, then it's not about, like you doing something to deserve that, right? You're only getting it because they're doing you a favor, not because you deserve it. You've done something that's like, no, you're not doing me a favor. This is like the result of my work, right? So if you think of it in that sense, as it says, if by grace, right, not because you were, super duper this and that, no, but because of the favor of the mercy of the Lord, then it is no more of works. Your reward, is not coming based on your works, because ultimately, like the scriptures say, faith without works is dead. But what did the apostle James say? What does he said? Show me your faith without your works, and I'll show you my faith by my works. Right? So you show faith by your works. Why do you get up to go to work every day? Because you believe that when you do go to work, you will get paid. Right? So how do you show that you believe that you're going to get paid? By going to work. If you don't believe you're going to get paid, you're not going to be going to work. Right? If somebody tells you, hey, do this and I'll give you $1 million, you're only going to do it if you believe that you're actually going to get $1 million. If you don't believe that you're going to get $1 million, then guess what? You don't do it. So based on your actions, you can tell whether you actually believe or have faith in something or you don't, right? So, and if by grace, then it is no more of works. Otherwise, grace is no more grace. So if for example, if I'm doing a favor for you, then it's not about, your works. It's about you're only getting what you're getting because I'm doing a favor for you, right? But if it's not based on the favor I'm doing for you, then it's not, it's no more grace. If it's based on whatever works you've done, then it's not me doing anything special for you, right? It says, but if it be of works, then it is no more grace. Otherwise, work is no more work. Verse 7, what then? Israel hath not obtained that which he seeketh for, but the election hath obtained it, and the rest were blinded. Okay, which is ultimately, where we call ourselves the hopeful elect, okay, because, we hope to be of the elect. We hope to be the ones that have obtained it. As the scriptures say, many are called, but few are chosen, right? So the Lord says, open up our eyes to see the salvation, to see this truth, and to believe it. Now, as the scriptures say, we just got to endure unto the end. Okay. Verse 8, it says, as it is written, the Most High hath given them the spirit of slumber, eyes that they should not see, and ears that they should not hear unto this day. So we know it's the spirit of the Lord, and it's a form of spiritual power, because at one point our eyes were also blinded. At one point we were also in the spirit of slumber. Okay. But the spirit of the Most High took us out of that. Right, as the scriptures tell you in the book of Romans 12:2. Okay, it says here, and be not conformed to this world as we were in past time, but be ye transformed. Right, the word transform means to change forms. Okay, so be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Why? Because what your body does, as the saying goes, what the mind says, the body follows. So what your body does is based on the condition of your mind, right? So when you change your mind, when you change the forms of your mind, you go from having a mind after sin to a mind well instructed, right? When you go from having a carnal mind to a mind that follows the spirit, then it says what? Transformed by the renewing of your mind. So now the way you live is going to be different. You're going to change forms. You're going to go from the old man to the new man by renewing your mind. So as where you used to eat pork, you don't eat pork anymore. You used to commit adultery, you don't do that anymore. You used to get these fresh lineups, you don't do that anymore. Like the things that you used to do that were of the world, that were not of the Lord, you stop doing those. You change forms because your mind has been renewed, right? You know better now. It says that ye may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God. Okay. So going back to the point now, for you to be able to change forms, that has to be by what? The spirit of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. It's not of us. Okay. Now, and that was pretty much it. I just wanted to, bring out a few points on there, and overall just to put emphasis on the point that it's all the spirit of the Lord. As like I titled it, if when you want to do a lesson but you have no topic, sometimes you just pray and just go through the spirit. Of course, the scriptures talk about not forcing the course of the river. Sometimes it's just the point where you just don't feel it at all. But other times you may feel that way, but that just might be because you haven't started speaking. How many times have you been at camp and you go there and you're probably like, man, I don't even, the spirit ain't even on me to speak. And then somebody else starts speaking and then the spirit jumps on you, or you start speaking and then the spirit jumps on you. That's how it works. It's like a fire, you can catch on fire without starting the fire. So long as it just touches you and it can catch on fire. So how much more the spiritual fire, So it's all the spirit of the Lord that works. So long as you're willing to walk the path that the Lord has set for you, he'll always, provide you a path. It's just, are you willing to walk it? So yeah, let me read a couple of these precepts and then Lord willing, we'll close it out. All right, see brothers posted some good ones on here. This is oh man. Yep, this is a good one. This is Yahar's Judah, Israel, Romans 9:31. Uh, it says, "But Israel hath followed after the law of righteousness." But it says, "But Israel, which followed after the law of righteousness, hath not attained to the law of righteousness." Verse 32. Wherefore, because they sought it not by faith, but as it were by works of the law, for they stumbled at that stumbling stone. Which is why, well, let's read verse 33. As it is written, behold, I lay in Sion a stumbling stone, a rock of offense, and whosoever believeth on him shall not be ashamed. And that stumbling stone and rock of offense is Yahushua. Okay, as you can see, it says, whosoever believeth on him. That's Yahushua. Okay, so because they were doing this of the works of the law and not seeking to attain the righteousness of faith, they were blinded and they couldn't receive the fact that the Messiah was on the scene. All right, and to believe in him. So they chose, even when Yahushua was on the scene, they chose the work, the physical carnal works, which weren't enough to save you or deliver you. All right. So like my battery's running low. I'm just gonna grab this. Oh, okay, all right, okay. Right, so they chose that and they weren't able to receive, the or Salakia, they weren't able to believe, upon Yahushua. They were blinded. All right. Let's see. Yep, this is Big Nez, Isaiah 10:21. The remnant shall return, even the remnant of Jacob, onto the mighty power. Okay, so those are the complete number of souls that have been reserved from bowing the knee to Baal, from losing faith in Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, no matter what. As the scriptures say, if it were possible, they should deceive the very elect, but it's not possible for them to do that, So it's all the Spirit of the Lord, everything that happens, every thought, every step I take, but it's all the Spirit of the Lord, everything that you do, everything you think, all of that, so, just going back to the original point, there's moments when you will have that, you may not have a topic, you may not have a title, but sometimes it's worth just, praying, and just start speaking. And as you're speaking, there's bound to be something that you'll say that will trigger a precept, or, a brother or, not a sister, a brother might put a precept on a comment board, and, it may just start the ball rolling. You just got to get the ball rolling, and then the Spirit will take over completely from there. So anyway, with that, Lord willing, this is edifying to the elect. The water for the precepts. And in closing, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Baqar. Shalom.